attention, please. It's time for the final countdown. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to the CJ Howard Sports Talk Show, live from the mountains of Barberville, Kentucky. Want to talk sports? Give us a call at 502-849-9320. Do you have any questions, or would you like to leave us a comment? Please go to my page and like and share. Now, let's go live to CJ Howard.
Blessed Sunday evening to you all, and welcome on this Labor Day weekend, as it's a 3-day weekend for, well, actually, 3-day weekend. You don't have to work tomorrow unless you're just some little business that likes to work. Majority of everybody's off tomorrow, but it's Labor Day weekend. It's time for episode number 3 of CJ Howard Show. Welcome. I'm CJ Howard, live from my apartment in Hazard over the mountains of eastern Kentucky here. Got a great show for you. Now, you can watch us on the D&D Sports Network. You can watch me on the show page. You can actually not watch me on my regular page, but hopefully somebody will share it over there to my page. And then people that are not fans, that means you need to go like my page, and you can watch it on my regular sports page, on my regular Facebook page. Watch it on YouTube as well. If you guys got any comments? Guys, one thing that we've not been doing, I want to try to crank this up, guys. I want your questions. I want your comments. I want to know what you guys are thinking in the box. We've had very little comments the first 2 shows. I liked it when we got a lot of debate and banner going on. So let's try to get that going if we can. I appreciate that. I'd love to hear you guys' comments. It just pumps me up. If you want to give me a call, it's 502-849-9320. We can also, I'll talk to you there. If you got anything you want to ask my main man, Nate, I have to transfer it back to him. He'll transfer his answer, and I will give it back to you. We have a good show tonight. We have a couple of new people on here. I'm excited to talk to Dunbar head football coach Wes Johnson. Dunbar's 0-2, but Lexington football very, very tough, and they've played 2 really tough teams early. So we're going to talk with him here in about 10 minutes. We're going to speak for the first time with John Huang. Now, John is he's a sports journalist. He's an author, and he's also a UK contributor. Now, he does a lot of stuff for UK. He knows about as much as my main man, Jeff Drummond, Dave Baker, and them. So we're going to talk with him at 8:30. Les Dixon's going to be here at 9 o'clock. We're going to talk with him about some of the 13th region football teams over there. We're also going to talk about how far the 13th region media page network has come. Started off as just something simple. They were just doing 3 men, and now they're doing live games. I've been doing live games since the middle of last year, but it's great, and it's another source to watch a game. And then our main man, Jack Demmler, will be with us at 9:30. Well, as I told you guys, we'll try to share the wealth a little bit. We'll try to have Jack 1 week, Audrey 1 week, Armando 1 week, spread them out where the same person, we get to hear all 3 thoughts in their head. With me tonight is my co-host. He is the main man still. He'll always be the main in my heart. He's living in Nebraska now as he's a Cornhusker. I think he's still somewhat a UK fan. Nate Johnson is with us. Nate, great to have you with us.
Thank you. Good to be here, CJ, and always a pleasure hanging out with you, man.
Tickled to death. Got a good show. We're going to get – I tell you what, Kentucky looked good for 2 quarters. Mother Nature didn't really – I guess Mother Nature felt sorry for Southern Mississippi because They scored 31 points in the first half. Probably should have scored 50 in the first half.
Sure.
They missed some opportunities, and then Mother Nature decided, it's midnight. It's almost 1 o'clock. Let's just come on down. So it was a pouring. Thunder and lightning actually was the reason why they called the game.
Okay.
The game was called 9:35 in the third quarter.
Okay.
But Kentucky was up 31-0. They do get credit for the victory because you only got to play one half of football. Basketball, I think you have to play one half in case if we ever got in a situation like that. They really tried last night to start at 7 o'clock. Everybody was excited. The crowd was pumped.
Sure.
Actually, I was impressed with the crowd when they started at 10:05 because there was probably it's 10:05 at night and they're still
rocking.
Almost 10 to 15,000 people still in the stadium.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's BBN right there, right?
And they started booing when they called the game. Well, wasn't everybody booing, but I could hear some boo. You can hear some people not happy, and you can't listen. Mother Nature, she's got a way of. Got a phone call. Hold on, Nate. Let me see if I can take it.
What you got to do, brother?
Hello, this is CJ. This is CJ Howard Show. Who we got here? Hey, Chris, how you doing? How you been? I've been doing pretty good. Trying to stay busy. Yeah. You go ahead. I'll try to have the answer for you if I can. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Christopher, I'm going to answer this the best way I know how. Spectators see things that officials don't. And they saw a lightning. They saw a lot. I mean, they saw it. They were just trying to tell the official, apparently, is what I understand. And then of course, I think they escorted him off the field. The official said they never saw the lightning strike. And I don't know much about this situation. What I heard. That's the only details I have. I don't know if that was even the true part of that. But as I do say, we just you can't catch everything in a game. If officials don't see some weather happening, I mean that ain't really their fault. I mean, but I do. Here's my point: you don't want to get the kids hurt, and I understand why the fan probably did what he did. But you got to handle it a better way. What the fan probably should have done is probably got the assistant coach, said, Coach, I think there's been some weather in the area. We just saw a lightning strike. You might want to tell the officials not to get these kids hurt. Do it that way instead of maybe going out on the field. Because, listen, we've had problems with officials in the past in sports. If you remember 2 years ago in the AAU situation when the official got punched in the face, you can be arrested for coming at an official. So, you got to be very careful. Well, no, I have not heard. I'm not. Listen, I only hear little bits and pieces because I'm busy doing other things. But you know what? I think the situation it'll work itself out. I think we'll be okay. Well, I appreciate that very much, Christopher. And you call anytime you want to, and I appreciate you. Thank you very much. All right, bye-bye. Thank you. That was Christopher Gregory. He's a fan of the show. I'd heard a little bit about something like that. A fan coming trying to explain to the officials there was a lightning strike or there was some weather. And listen, come on the field and you ain't a person of the game, you're gonna be called out. That's why they tell you before the game, we only want personnel and players, coaches, and sometimes they don't like media on the sideline. But I'm not being mean. I'm just saying that's just how some places are. And that guy, I don't really think he met. I don't know the whole detail. I just know what I heard about that. So,
was that the Kentucky game or was that a high school game?
That was a high school game. I think it was East Jessamine and I can't remember who they played. I just heard about it. I don't know the full details. So, but like I said, I would have went and told the coaches. Coaches could have relayed it to the officials. Done it, that way. So, yeah. This was a crazy week. I don't know if I've seen a more crazier week in Kentucky high school football than this week was.
Okay.
I come out of this. I don't feel good about any of our top mountain teams because, look, Pikeville's 0-2. I ain't concerned with that, with them being 0-2. They didn't play well last night. Johnson Central was smoking last night. They were upset because they gave the game away 2 weeks ago or last week to Madison Central. You come out 14-0. You do nothing the second half. You get beat double-digit touchdowns.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to go on the road again. Pikeville's a big-time favorite. Pikeville's coming off not a good offensive output against Corbin, and didn't put really much of a fight last night against Johnson Central. I mean, you look, it's 34-13 the final, but at Belfry, look here, GRC is pretty good. I think I'd quit scheduling GRC for the Pike County Bowl. I think I would bring somebody else to the Pike County Bowl. You play them 2 straight years and you lost both times. I know Coach Haywood's probably not concerned about that, but look. That's the first time I can remember. You'll be able to correct me on this because you've been around. First time that Belfry and Pikeville's lost in the same Pike County Bowl in a long time.
Yeah,
because Pikeville hardly ever loses. How many games has Pikeville lost in the Pike County Bowl? 2 all time.
Yeah, not a lot.
That would be. We're gonna get our main man Jack on that.
Yeah, I was about to say we gotta ask Jack that one
because I think he will know. Because because it's interesting because I know that they have to take a lot of Pike County teams because it's the Pike County Bowl, and a lot of other schools won't go play because they don't want to go up a home game. But you have to try to get some good teams in there. I'm not disappointing that Martin County played with an East Ridge to 35-6. Martin County had a lot to prove. They had to come back and prove something after Hazard thrashed them the week before. Listen, this was a week where a lot of teams they wanted redemption. They got zero redemption. I'm not being. Listen, I'm facing facts. Some teams are not that good. Some of them are not that good at all. And I'm not being mean. I'm just telling you facts. There's some teams. Listen, right now, my 5 surprise teams right now, Hazard, because they're playing. Listen, they scored more points in the first 2 games they scored the entire season last year.
Who'd they play last week?
They played Martin County, beat them 50-something to 7 or 12 or something. And then they shut out Harlan County last night 31-0. So go on the road. That was what. And the thing about it was, me and my brother Dan, who used to be the head coach at Hazard, now has decided to focus on other things. But we're sitting there watching the game on his phone, and Hazard probably missed 3 more opportunities to score another 50 points. Prairie Central looked unbelievable Friday night. They put 50. They put a 50 slot on Breathitt. Listen. I like Breathitt, but Breathitt's. Listen, you're playing some young kids out there. Listen, they dropped 3 touchdowns. You can't do that. And a couple times they were wide open in the middle of the field and just dropped it. You know, it's really, really tough that your best player is not playing football.
That is. Is Austin not playing? Okay.
Focusing on basketball. Listen, understand that 110%.
Sure.
But if he plays, I mean, you know, they're really going to lean on him, and you know, this is a Breath Kelly team. I think listen. They got Lewis Kelly this week. I think they will. They'll probably be in a dogfight, and then they got Hazard 2 weeks. I mean, not Hazard 2, but 3 weeks got Hazard.
Yeah.
So you know, I like Hazard. I think they're playing real well. Purdy looked real good last night. Now they had a rough game in Somerset. They bounced back nicely last night. And I'll tell you what, they got one of the best freshman running backs you've ever seen in your life.
Really?
Oh Lord, he's a speed demon. He made 2 60-yard runs in the game. He probably had 100 and some yards. I don't know. He had over 100, at least 120 yards rushing. And ran the ball. Perry said, "Coach, really impressed with North Laurel. I thought them and Whitley County game. Watched some of it. Whitley County and North are 2 teams that they're going to be there all year. Bell County looked so bad, bad. They were behind 16-0 against Boyd County, and finally come back and won the game. I think they won by 10. Let me get my scoreboard up here. I can tell you what they end up finishing.
So cream soda, by the way, just so.
Okay, we don't here Gatorade here. Gatorade. We're not being sponsors here. We're just Gatorade here. Okay.
Yep, little soda. Actually.
Let me see. Bell ended up winning 36-31, but they were down 16-0. Leslie County was down 18-0 to Floyd Central. Leslie County scored 20 points in the final 2 minutes of the game.
Wow, 2 minutes of the game?
In the final 2 minutes of the game.
Oh.
Let me give you some scores right now. When I give them to you, you're just going to say, okay, yeah, Leslie County 41, Floyd Central 26. Floyd Central had should have run away with the game.
Really?
Hazard 33, Harlan County nothing. Like I said, Hazard probably missed the opportunity to score 50. Corbin looked really good, 52-25. Now, you're going to say they gave up 25 points to North Hardin. They had all their young kids in the game at the end in the third quarter. I mean, Coach Sammons is trying to find out who can play. He's finding that real quick. And they've got the best quarterback in the mountains. You know they do. I mean, he can swing. Yeah, Kay can sling it all over the field. He's really good. Johnson Central 37, Pikeville 15. I just can't wrap myself. Listen, you played so rough and ugly the week before against Madison Central, and then you do that to Pikeville on their home field, and you got Belfry coming up this week. So, I mean, Jordan Rogers Clark 43, Belfry 35. Now, Belfry made this a better game than what the score indicated, but Belfry did a good job coming back, but GRC jumped all over them early. Prairie Central 52, Breathitt County 35. Breathitt County scored probably of them 35. They probably scored 21 of those in the fourth quarter. But because it was like 50-some to 14 at one time. Bell County 36, Boyd County 31. Bell was, like I told you, get killed the first half. Betsy Lane 38. Bath County 35. That's not a very good. I mean, it's a good win for Betsy Lane, and they went on the road to do it. Bath County is not a bad team. Bath County is coached by Brandon, the former Prestonsburg, Brandon Brewer, the former Prestonsburg coach. Wow. So for some other scores from Friday night, Williamsburg 38 over Bourbon County 20. Prestonsburg 49, Eastridge 6. That was in the Pike County Bowl. Estill County 24, Harrison County nothing. Middlesboro's 0-2. They got beat McGarrett County in that same bowl that Corbin played in 23-20. Knox County 43, Jackson County 28. It's Lawrence County 49, Shelby Valley 34. Livingston Academy 55, Jenkins nothing. Lincoln 48, Berea 31. That was a shootout. Montgomery County 40, Lewis County 0. Lewis County plays, I think, Breath County this week. Tough for your luck, Lewis County. Martin County 40, Pike Central 18, McCreary Central 18, Marion County 16, Parish 63, Paintsville 30. I want to talk about Paintsville in just a second. Pulaski County 56, Danville 6. Danville has lost 14 straight games in 3 years. We got to talk about that in a second, too. I don't think that's ever happened in Danville football history.
Wow.
Raceland beat Letcher Central 21-14. This game, I just want to say one thing. Raceland's not as good as they have been. Letcher Central's for real. You go on the road. You go on the road to Raceland, and you probably should have won, and they missed some opportunities. Rockcastle 41, Pineville 14, South Laurel 24, Knox Central 14, Wayne County 41, Clinton County 14, and Western Hills 42, Powell County 7. So let's go back to. I want to go back to. Let's see. I want to go back to Pulaski County for just a second.
Okay.
Nate, this is a football team that's got a new head coach in Tom Burns, Coach Burns. And, we talked about this last week on the show, how our new coaches won 11 of the 13 games won by new coaches were won last week by new coaches. McGoffin County's for real. They should have beat Beechwood last week. Hey, Beechwood beat. But this is a team that I think needed some new direction. And I think pretty much I think they're getting it now. I think they're starting to understand the game.
Well, I think that sometimes change can be a good thing if you do it the right way. And they certainly brought in somebody who knows how to win. That's for sure. And they have a lot of the right pieces there. So maybe a little change in the culture. Oh my goodness, what a grab! Pulaski County with maybe some new spark to them and some winning and a new coach, and they had they got a lot of good pieces on that team. We're starting to see that,
Yeah, no question about that. Let's see. There was as I look at these scores and I see them here. Some of them they boggle your mind. Let's go back up to our top. This is the Mountain top 10 teams.
Sure.
Corbin looked good. Somerset struggled. You'll beat Russell 13-7. Somerset's a good football team. Did play well Friday night. Johnson Central, what they did to Pikeville. Belfry didn't make a good comeback. I tell you what, I'm real high on both North Laurel and Whitley County. I think both of them teams are really good. Bell didn't look good at all. Bell won, but they didn't look good. And Betsy Lang, I said, that's a W. It was a road game. You would take it and you'll move on. But the majority of our teams, Nate, I don't know what identity they've got because I don't know how good they are. I can't judge them. Yeah. One week they're this, and next week they're that. Yeah.
Well, shout out to Gerald, man. I love that. Betsy Land head coach over there. He's always been so good to me and to YMT. But Letcher, I want to talk about Letcher for a sec because that team is that's a team that I was high on coming into this season. Actually, I thought that they could stay healthy, they could be really good, and starting to see that. Maybe you go to Raceland and only lose by a touchdown, like you said. Maybe they could have won. That's impressive.
Yeah, yeah. You look. Letcher Central was the other team I was wanting to talk about too. How they went to Raceland and Raceland's decent, not as good as their Epic lost a lot of kids off that team last year. But that was. That's a loss that I'm thinking. We're going to see how good Letcher County is, though, because I think they got a home game. Let me get the schedule for week 2. They are the schedule for this week. Actually, let's go over some of the games for this week, then we'll talk about UK. All three of our WSGS radio games are all home this week. McGoffin County is at Leslie. Paris is at Hazard. That's a big game. It's going to be 2-0. Two 2-0 schools getting together. It's going to be a big matchup. Lawrence County at Perry Central. I'm interested in that matchup, too. That's going to be a really, really big game for both teams. You got Lexington Catholic it says at Corbin. Yes, that's right. Because they went to Corbin. They went to Catholic last year. Somerset at Knox Central. Pikeville at Lexington Christian. Poor old Pikeville. Well,
oh, man.
It's not going to get any easier for you. Belfry dropped to Central. Huh?
Oh, I just saying they're in the gauntlet right now, but we know Pikeville. They'll figure it out second half.
This reminds me of Belfry from the year they won the state championship when they went 0-5, and everybody said, "Well,
Right.
skies are falling." And it's, I said, they're 0-5. They're going to win the state title. Everybody looked at me and said, "Well, you're crazy." And what happened? They won the state title. So I'm just concerned that Pikeville maybe they've had so much success, back-to-back state titles. People's pumped them up to be the team to be. And the first two games ain't really played that way. And you played two 4A schools that are probably the two contenders that can play with Bull County.
Mm-hmm.
So that's tough.
That is.
Belfry's at Johnson Central. Hardin Kelly's at Whitley County. Bell's at Letcher Central. Oh my Lord, that's going to be the game of the week. Bell Letcher Central. Got to see how this. If Letcher can win this game, then I know they're for real.
Yeah, 100%.
North Laurel, Franklin County, big game for North Laurel. You're 2-0. You're on the road. You won't know how good you are. Right here is going to be your tall tale. Breathitt County's at Lewis County. Let me take that back. Breathitt County better be ready to play then, because Lewis County might be upset. They might be ready to play at home. I thought this was Jackson, but it's at Lewis County. Betsy Lane's at Fairview. Casey County's at Wayne County. Clay County's at Williamsburg. That should be a really good football game.
Sure.
Estill County at West Carter. Frankfurt's at Rockcastle County. Dayton City, Virginia's at Middlesboro. George Rogers, Clark, Pulaski County. I told you we we're going to find out about Pulaski County again. Here's a game coming up this week where they play another great opponent, and I'll find out about them. Lincoln at Knott County. Knott County should be 3-0 after Friday night. I don't think I've been a long time. New field, new outfits. They're feeling it in high. We're for real. We'll see.
Good. It's about time.
Phelps is at Jackson County. Pike Central's at Harding. Pineville is at Bishop Brosser. An awfully long trip for them. Riverview, West Virginia at East Ridge. Shelby Valley at Martin County. The last 2 years, this would have been a great game. This one's probably got Martin County's 1-1. Shelby Valley's 0-2. Southwestern's at South Warren. It's going to be a good game for Southwestern after having the week off. 2 weeks to prepare. South Warren's top 5A school. Jenkins is at Blaine, Virginia. I think that game may have got canceled. I have to look again somewhere. I thought I saw it. South Laurel's at Russell County. John Hines taking the Cardinals on the road. Got to see how that goes. And Morgan County is at Berea. That game has been canceled. I don't know why, but I think also the Jenkins game was canceled too. So I'll have to check more into that. We'll go over the schedule a lot more as we go through the night. But I want to give you my top 10 guys. Had a lot. I didn't lose a team, but I didn't have a lot of moving around. Listen, I didn't punish Pikeville because they were 7th last week in my top 10. This week they're 10. I ain't gonna take them out because they played two blistering teams. But you do need to prove yourself this week. And you go Lexington Christian's 0-2, Pikeville's 0-2. I don't think, but this is going to be a great football game. I got Pikeville at 10. I got Letcher Central at 9, Belfry at 8, Betsy Lane 7, North Laurel 6, Johnson Central 5, Bell County 4, Rockcastle County 3, Somerset 2, and Corbin number 1. I wanted to really put Johnson Central higher, but I need to see more. I need to see more, and I need to see more out of Letcher Central before I can move them up.
Sure.
Now, the Mountain Top 10 this week was Betsy Lane. They're going to stay in. Breathitt, they'll be out. There'll be a new team in that slot. North Laurel, they won. They'll stay in. Bell won. They'll stay. Johnson Central will stay. Whitley will stay. Belfry won. No, Belfry lost, so they'll move down. Pikeville lost. They'll move down. Somerset Corbin will stay where they're at. Jack, I'm guessing Belfry and Whitley County will move down too. So you could have in the bottom, their Mountain Top 10 could have Pikeville, Belfry, and let's see, in the bottom. I don't know how far they'll drop them because I only dropped them 2 slots last week. I don't look for him to go more than 2 slots this week. I expect Whitley Johnson to jump Bell and Pikeville, not Bell, because Bell struggled to win their game at home, and I think the guys that make the Mountain Top 10, the collection of all of you, will be repeated when they go to put their top 10 out. So we'll see that tomorrow night as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, be interesting. Guys, where's them comments? Daniel, he's gave me a comment here. Daniel Haddix, and we all know him. He says, Burns is doing a great job there. He is, Coach. I mean, he is. Really is. Listen, Pulaski County's playing with like new house money. You're been that's just. I mean, they got all different. They're just totally different now. I mean, they not against Coach Hines. He's a great coach. He was there 30-some years.
Shout out, Coach Hines.
Sometimes you just got to have change. I say here we didn't get Coach Johnson never did factory back. So, but our next guest is with us, and I bet he's tired. Because I would take a good guess. He probably was one of the last ones to leave out of Kroger Field last night. With us is John Huang. John, welcome to the show for the first time ever. I'm tickled to death to have you, and it's an honor for you to be on the CJ Howard Show.
Hey, CJ. Hey, Nate. Yeah, it really is an honor for me to be here. You know, the first time for everything is always a special time. So like you said, this is my first time on CJ Howard's Sports Talk Show. I'm excited. I'm ready to bring it. Let's talk UK sports.
And you're going to be on here a lot if I can get you. If you're available, a lot of times I'm gonna book you because I got to have you. You and Jeff, and you guys know what you're doing. You know what you're talking about. Let's talk about last night. I was telling Nate that Mother Nature didn't really want UK to play last night. Apparently, she brought a rainstorm. She brought thunder and lightning. She decided, I think I'll let you guys start. Maybe get to the third quarter, and then I'll just go back into action again. So the game was called with 9-something on the clock in the third quarter, and Kentucky was up 31-0. They was in total control. They could have scored 50 in the first half. They did miss some opportunities to put some points on the board. Now, I know we didn't get to see a full game, and we didn't get to see a lot of probably what Coach Stoops wanted to do. For what little bit we did see, what'd you walk away late about 12:30, 1 o'clock thinking?
Yeah, I thought we saw enough. Even though it was just a little bit more than half a game, I think Kentucky pretty much dominated. When you look back and you look at the sequence of plays and the stats at the final ending of the game, there was no doubt which team was in control. They dominated the line of scrimmage. They had obviously the more talented players. But like you said, the star of the game was really Mother Nature. What you just talked about was a tease. She teased us. And probably the most frustrating thing about it all, CJ, was that we really didn't know what was going on. We were as clueless in the press box as everybody was who was lining outside the gates and then later on into the concourses. I
went to a wrestling event, and I come back out in the car, and I thought, well, I figured the Kentucky game would be about over with. I'll listen to the post-game show, and I'll listen to the call-in show. Well, I'm listening to BBN something. I'm going, why am I listening to this show? This happened Tuesday or Monday night, and I'm thinking, something's wrong. And then, what's his name? The guy that does comes and tells Tom Leach things. He come on there, and he said, well, Mother Nature's decided to play with this game. She said that they've made a decision that we will come back at 10:05. And I went, 10:05? I said, you guys even started? They said they never even got a chance to even go out on the field. Said, the storm happened, about 6 o'clock? Is that right?
Yeah, and we had already had a very, very long day. You know, a lot of people were tailgating. And, of course, as media, you try to get there a couple hours earlier at the very minimum. So I was in Kroger Field at probably about, I'd say, 5:30 or so. And it was almost like taking a airport ride. What happens in the airport when they delay your flight? They just give you a little nugget initially, right? They say, okay, the flight's just going to be about 10 minutes late. No big deal. Then before you know it, you've sat there in that lobby for about 2 hours and there's no airplane in sight. That's kind of the way that we felt. It went from, okay, kickoff at 7:45, then suddenly kickoffs at 8:15, then 8:30, 8:45. It's 9:30. It's after 10 before they even got started. And there got to be a point where there were rumors circulating. I haven't found out if it's absolutely true. I think it is, but there is a definite cutoff time where the SEC doesn't allow games to kick off after a particular time. And I think they were approaching that window. They had to be, because anything later than that, you would have been looking at a game that was finishing up at 1 or 2 o'clock. I think we actually got lucky with that last lightning storm moving in and then just calling it off. But, circling back, CJ, I did think we saw enough. I was very, very impressed with Brock Vandegrift. I didn't really know what to expect. We had heard a lot about him being this big 5-star stud out of high school, but he really didn't have any starts in college. And to see him get out there and take control and start running over people, that inspired me. It's a little bit scary because you don't want the guy to get too many hits. He can't do that for a whole season. But for starting out, showing the enthusiasm and the ability not only to run over people, but to do his reads, to scramble when he needed to, that was impressive. I'm encouraged by that.
They've done a lot of stuff early in the game. I watched most of it, and then I fell asleep. I fell asleep about 2 minutes ago in the second quarter. But what I was impressed with was they do so many formations. And they got so many people in motion. I mean, you had Barry and Brown in motion. You had Dane Key in motion. You had the freshman wide receiver in motion. You had the tight end. And then they gave the ball to different people. And if you're going to do things like that, that's really going to open up Kentucky's offense, because if you think Dane Key's got it, then Vandegrift's going to keep it. He'll go that way. Here goes Barry and Brown. It seems to me that, we knew Southern Miss was not going in. You had first of all, you got to be weary of game one, because you don't play scrimmages like college, NFL, and high school. But you have no game experience. You don't know what to expect. If I'm going to grade a half a game, I'm going to give us about an 85% grade. I do need to see some more stuff, because South Carolina's not Southern Miss.
No, they're not. They're a lot better. There's no doubt about it. They're going to be a lot better. But they had trouble in their game yesterday also. So I'm not quite sure what to expect still. I'm still at the place where there's still a lot of uncertainty associated with this team. I thought we would learn a little bit against Southern Miss. I think we'll learn a lot more against South Carolina. But you're right. Absolutely. It's better competition. I liked what you said about all the motion. What, other than Vandegrift, what's been the biggest story about this upcoming season? It's about their tempo, about this tempo offense that Bush Hamden is bringing in. And he showed glimpses of it. No longer did we have the frustration of looking at the time clock and wondering if it's going to expire as the players are standing on the sideline, on the field, looking toward the sidelines. That didn't happen a whole lot. They got off, I think they got off 42 plays in just a little bit over a half. So you extrapolate that out, and that's a lot quicker, a lot more plays than they got off for whole games last year.
No question about it. And I was impressed with it. And you know what, though? You can correct me if I'm wrong. They didn't run the football a lot with running backs. Most of the plays were keepers, little stuff to receivers. I didn't really see it. I mean, I don't know what our running backs wound up with, but it didn't wind up with a whole lot of yardage. Now, down the road, we're going to have to be able to run the football. And I know our best running back is going to be out probably till either the Georgia game or the Miami of Ohio game. But once we get him back, I feel like they'll start running the football more with the backs. What do you think?
Yeah, and if you look at how the game flow went, I think the first couple series, they hardly went to the backs at all. And when they did, they weren't very effective. But as the game went on, as they were opening it up, as they were able to throw to the wide receivers, as Vandegrift scrambled, the backs had a lot more opportunities to make yardage, and they did that. I thought the running backs, I would give them a B+, maybe A- for their performance yesterday.
The defense, though, was the story of the game, John. There was no question about it. This defense is for real, and it can play with anybody in the nation. I'll tell you that right now. And I'm not. Listen, I'll put this defense up against anybody. I'll put them against Georgia, put them against Alabama. Listen, they're playmakers, and there's playmakers all over the field.
Yeah, there's one caveat, and you already know this: injuries have to stay away. Yeah. Across the defensive line, they're a little bit weak. They're a little bit thin. They need to make sure that everybody stays healthy. J.J. Weaver, he's a baller. He's a playmaker. They're expecting him to get at least double-digit sacks this year, and I think he got 1, maybe 2 last night. So he's well on his way. He's got to bring the pressure. I think the other question, the other uncertainty, and I don't know, maybe you won't have me on anymore because I'm a warrior. You know, I like to kind of pick out the weaknesses in the team and see how they can shore those up. I'm always looking for the next big disaster. I don't want it to happen. I'm not saying it'll happen, but you got to be leery about that. But the other area is who's going to play opposite Maxwell Hairston? You know, who's going to be that other guys who's going to be able to step up? Yeah, he's shown that he's the man. He's a proven ability back there in the defensive backfield. But who else? He's going to need somebody else to help shore up that defensive secondary.
Yeah, no question about that. We didn't get to see a lot of the younger players that we've been hearing a lot about get to play due to the weather. What does Coach Stoops do about that? Does he give them some more reps in practice? Does he play some of them in the South Carolina game because he knows he's got Georgia the week coming up? You don't want to. I mean, if you feel confident that you can get weight, you want to go a little deeper on the depth chart and play some people that are, because you want everybody fresh and ready for the Georgia game in 2 weeks. But first of all, you got to worry about South Carolina. But, you know, we did get to see some there were some guys that I was wanting to see, you know, but we didn't really get a chance to see them.
Yeah, even at the quarterback position, they were hoping that they could pull Vandegrift and give some reps to the other guys. And they probably need you on the coaching staff, CJ, because I think they were looking for that opportunity toward especially in the fourth quarter of the game, which never materialized, to play some of those guys. I don't think they're going to have the luxury of being able to experiment against South Carolina. That's going to be all hands on deck. Stoops and Shane Beamer, they got a little personal rivalry going on. I think neither one of them is going to want to see the other get the best of them. It's going to be all hands on deck. I don't think there's going to be much experimentation during those games. Unfortunately, you don't get a whole lot of rest. Georgia comes next, and you almost think, all right, if you had to get one of those games, obviously you'd want to beat Georgia, but realistically, most people don't think that's going to happen. So you've got to get this must win. This game next Saturday is almost a must win. I hate to say it this early, but that's the way things are shaping up. If Kentucky wants to have the successful season that everybody is hoping for.
John, did you watch Georgia play yesterday?
Yeah, I had to wear blindfolds, right?
Listen, that was. I mean, look, Clemson's not Clemson, and everybody's told us that, and we've known that before.
No, they weren't Southern Miss either, though.
No, they was no. Clemson would have beat Southern Miss about like Kentucky did, but Georgia does so much. I'm watching them, and I'm thinking, you know, they lost all these position players. They just fill them in with all these other transfers and things that nobody wanted, and they look like all Americans. And just, you know, I mean, it was impressive. But now, you know, was it 2 years ago Georgia come down here? We should have beat them. We could have beat them. I mean, the defense done their job, but the offense did not. They didn't come out of the locker room. But now, you know, like, you're right. I think the South Carolina game is very, very important because if you remember 2 years ago when South Carolina come down here, we had a backup quarterback. The first play of the game, we tried to run a trick play. We fumble. They run it back for touchdown, and then we get beat. So, I mean, that can't happen Saturday, again. But we're going to have our starter this time. But last time it was a disaster.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's afternoon game, 3:30. But by the way, this is an indication. What happened last night should be an indication to everybody to start rooting to have more noon games and afternoon games. These night games, especially as we get a little bit older in our lives, I mean, it's past our bedtime. We got to get up. Last night's game, I was thinking, okay, am I going to be having to go directly to church after this thing ends? Yeah, I don't want that to happen. Noon games. We got to go with noon games, right? Especially from a media standpoint, it's a heck of a whole lot easier. Plus, it allows us to go home and watch the games later on that evening.
Okay, let's do the math then. So if we'd had a noon game and we had all the delays, you would have been there till 10 o'clock. The game would have finally ended. So but you would have been better off. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, that's a much. But I was listening to them on the Tom Leach and them talk before they kicked off. They were talking how the fans loves the night games because they said that the day games, even when it's cold, when you get into October, November, people don't like day games. They love night games. They said the night games. I've been to 2 night games and 1 day game.
Yeah,
I've been to 4 total. I've been to 4 total Kentucky games in my whole life. I've been to 2 night games. I was there when we beat South Carolina when they was number 1. I've been to 1 day game and I was 1 middle game and it was the game. It poured the rain about 3:30, and I mean it was just a gully washer.
And
but
then
Kentucky won pretty big.
Once you get into October, then you've got the Keeneland thing too. People like to double dip. They'll go to Keeneland during the day and the ball game at nighttime. Yeah. But it comes down to a lot of it is economics. It's always about the money, isn't it? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's this big. I was here's what impressed me, and I told Nate this. It's almost 12:30 at nighttime, and we still got over 10,000 people still there.
That was the other big part of the story last night. Is I was shocked at how many people stuck around. It was extremely impressive. Here they've been partying all day. They're probably tired. Half of them are probably drunk. You would think if they were waiting around for 2.5 more hours for kickoff, realizing that this thing may not end till after midnight now, then a lot of them would have just said, hey, let's cut our losses. Let's go home. But when that game kicked out and you looked out over the stadium, there were a few less people than there were 2 hours earlier, but there weren't a whole lot fewer people than there were. It was very impressive. They were still mic'd up. They were still ready to go. They still cheered. They were loud. Pretty amazing.
I think Coach Stoops might have even said something about that in the press conference after the game's over. I think he said thank you BBN for hanging around at a night that I know had to be awful for you guys, but thank you. And but we know Coach Stoops; he's always been that way. So
he has. I think it's sincere. I think it's legitimate. I think he has he realizes the importance of fan base support.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's just throwing platitudes out there and giving you lip service. I think he truly appreciates every single ticket that's sold and every person that makes the commitment to go in and watch the football team. And fans see that, and I think they appreciate that.
There was a lot going on in Kentucky. You had high school football going on. You had Ohio Valley Wrestling was in Pikeville doing a pay-per-view. You had UK football going on. You had all kinds of this state could only get so many people, but it seemed like that they wasn't sold out, but they was close to it. And, for all the events going on around Kentucky, that's what was impressive about that crowd. I mean, and then like I said, a lot of them just stuck around. It was very, 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 very impressive.
Yeah, granted, it was opening day, but it was also Southern Miss. So when you looked out there, the 2 corners up there in the upper deck of the sidelines were still empty. But other than that, it was pretty full. And then the real impressive thing is they've sold out the entire season ticket allotment already for the year. think they've sold 40,000 tickets. And people who say, this is a basketball state. Sure, basketball still kind of rules the roost in terms of interest and enthusiasm. And there's we have to win in basketball type mentality. But if Kentucky ever had a consistent winner in football, I think people are going to be shocked at the number of people who are going to be shelling out for University of Kentucky football. It is a passionate state.
Yeah, no question about that. Nate, questions for Mr. John?
Oh, yeah, I could talk all day to this guy, man. First of all, I love when you ask questions because you just get right to the point. I remember I was Coach Cal, I think, the year after losing to St. Pete, and you just came out and what happened last year? I was like, wow. That takes the tone right there to do that.
Well, it's one of these things that I come from it with a little different angle and perspective as your normal guy who comes through the media ranks. I'm basically a fan at heart. So you're talking about being a Kentucky sports fan for 40 or 50 years, and all of a sudden you're given access to these coaches and players, and I can ask them anything I want. And so the reason I ask questions is because I want to know the answer to it. And one thing I found, Nate, is that as long as you're diplomatic about it in a certain way, as long as you're not going through with an agenda or attacking anybody personally, I think most people are willing to accept your questions and give you a legitimate answer on that. So that's one of the things. Calipari, he and I, we had an interesting relationship. And I think just like with a lot of other people during the latter years after COVID, it kind of vaporized a little bit. So he was very, very different at the very end than he was at the very beginning. Of course, he won a lot before 2015 also.
Yeah, no, that's very true. But yeah, no, I always appreciated that. Looking at last season and all the hype around Devin Leary, how would you compare that to this year's Brock Vandagriff, and what maybe is an improvement is Brock over Devin if there is that in that first game?
I think it's still too early to tell right now, but I think that the coaching staff has really learned from the Leary experience because as you're well aware, those expectations were through the roof for Leary. Even before he threw his first ball, he was the anointed one. He was the special one. He was the one who was going to be, not Tim Couch, but pretty close to Tim Couch. You're talking about rarefied air. And that's just not fair. It's not fair to him. It's not fair to the fan base. And I think they kind of let that spiral out of control. So this year with Vandagriff, they have been very, very intentional in making sure that they don't set those expectations too high either. And also, you're talking apples and oranges. With Larry, he had experience at the major college level. He had a track record to go off of. With Vandagriff, I think they truly, truly have a certain degree of we don't know. We think he's good, but we don't know. So they've been really very hesitant to really throw accolades his way. But man, he's got to learn how to kind of tone it down a little bit. I know that was the first game. He was ramped up, had all this adrenaline, but you just can't take those hits like he did. Those were some pretty big hits. You could feel those, and he's not going to be able to survive doing that all year. So I hope I answered your question. I think, I think it's still too early. I'm hopeful, personally. I think he's a lot better fit because simply he's willing to run the ball. It gives you a whole added dimension, but with that also comes risks too.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at Kentucky's schedule, I don't remember what their ranking was, but it was a top 10 hardest schedule, I think, in college football. You got to stay healthy. Can you talk about just kind of what they're going to have to do? Like you said, South Carolina, kind of a must-win game. They got some tough games this year.
Yeah. Welcome to the SEC. That COVID year when they played those 10 SEC games, they what do they finish? Was it 500 or something like that, or less than that? And Stoops, he made no bones about it. You talk about asking him questions. One time I asked him, you always seem to go gaga over the SEC every time you talk about him. And he kind of laughed because he knew that's true. Every time he mentions the conference, he mentions how much of a gauntlet it is. And the last thing he wants to see is more Texas and Oklahoma's coming in. More SEC games, because that's potentially one more loss on his schedule. And losses get coaches fired or get their tenure very staled out over a period of time. But that schedule's tough. I don't care how much you sugarcoat it. If you go down and you look at each one of those games, you tell me where they're going to get these 8 or 9 wins that everybody's predicting. You've got these 4 stinky games that you think are automatic wins, although with Vanderbilt's performance yesterday, people are starting to say, oh, maybe we better put the brakes on that. But you take these 4 games that are considered automatic wins. Then you've got the other end of the spectrum that they're going to have a real hard time beating Georgia at home, beating Texas on the road, Ole Miss. I think they're tremendously underrated.
I don't think Florida is very good at all.
Yeah, Florida, they should be able to take them, but it is Florida. It's Gainesville, and you just don't know what's going to happen yet.
And I didn't think Louisville won big, but I didn't think they played impressive.
No, but those are all swing games, CJ. Mm-hmm. You got the Louisville, you got Auburn at home, and Auburn's not what they used to be anymore. But then you got the South Carolina, and then there's one more that
their next 4 games are South Carolina, Georgia, Ohio, and Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Then they got the open date.
Okay.
So we got Tennessee. You got to play Tennessee.
Yeah, you got Tennessee on the road. So, you got these 4 automatic wins. You got 4 that are going to be real hard to win. And then you got these 4 swing games. And if you take the law of averages, and let's just say they win 2, that's not unrealistic to expect. Win 2, lose 2. That puts them at 6-6, which means you're going to have to pull off a couple of upsets in order to get to that 8-4 that everybody I hear is saying going to be the benchmark for a successful season. Of course they can do it, but we don't know. And if the warrior part of me thinks, okay, yeah, maybe 6-6 and everybody's going to be up in arms, and that's not going to do it after 2 consecutive 7-6 years anyway, as it is. But it's Kentucky football. It's hard to shake. Disaster is on the it's coming down the line. You have to think about it. I mean, you can't. It ain't roses and candy all the time. Yeah. Sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug, and this is how it is. All I want to do is be the windshield for 1 year. Is it okay? My goal, it was always for Kentucky to make it to the SEC championship game. Down in Atlanta. I said, I want that to happen before I die. And now it's not going to happen because they got rid of all those divisions now.
But John, look at it this way. We saw something this year in baseball. Would you never thought Kentucky baseball would be in the World Series? Yeah. No. So there is that hope someday.
There's hope. Yeah, hope is being sure of what we hope for, right? Yeah, we want hope. We want hope.
Hope is there. It's there.
The thing is, though, the good thing, though, is there's, instead of having this big, high aspiration of SEC championship, now I think there's a intermediate step that is actually more achievable, and that is the 12-team playoff system, right?
Yeah,
I think that is the legitimate step that Kentucky
if you can steal the Ole Miss, the Tennessee game, and you go and you're 11-2, you're almost going to get you're going to get one of those 12. You're going to get one of those 12 slots.
Yeah, if you win 10 games, I think there's a good chance that they'll be in one of those slots, especially playing in the SEC.
Oh God, yeah, no question about that. Well, John, I know you're a very tired individual, so we're going to let you go. But I am going to say this: this has been a blessing and an honor to have you on here, and I want you back. I need you back. I want you back so many times. Well, you're just entertaining. I definitely want you back when we start basketball season, but we'll be right in the middle of football, and we'll have a greater idea by then where we're going to be.
Yeah,
So,
I'm really excited about basketball too. It seems like that having Mark Pope in has just kind of turned over a completely new leaf in the fan base. Everybody I talk to is super, super excited. I got to throw in one more shameless plug before I jump off. You know, I got here's what I need you guys to do for me. I got my book out here. All right.
There we
My
go.
newest book. It's called Name, Image, and Murder.
okay.
It's actually a fiction book. A
Okay.
Hall of Fame basketball coach gets brutally murdered during the course of a championship season. There's a lot going on in there. It's a murder mystery. It's a whodunit. It's a basketball action thriller. There's a lot of religious satire. Faith is super important to me, so it plays a big, big part in that book. So any of the listeners out there, and you, CJ, specifically, and you, Nate, I need you to go take a look at it. Give me a good review. And
I want you to send me the information on that book, and I'm going to put it in my notes that every show that I have, it will be mentioned. And where can we get this book at?
Yeah, right now the easiest way to do is just go on Amazon. You can Google Name, Image, and Murder, Dr. John Huang. It'll come right up. And I've gotten a lot of good initial reviews about it. People claim that they're kind of wondering if it really is a fiction book because there's a lot of familiar characters.
But John,
seen in there about Rupp Arena.
This is such a great book. This may turn into a movie.
You know, there's a coach that's you can kind of go crazy thinking about these things. But remember, the bottom line is it's fiction. Anything else is a figment of your imagination, but it's a lot of fun. It's my first foray into fiction writing. Like I said, a debut novel. It's been exciting. It's been a heck of a lot of fun. And to be able to tie some elements of University of Kentucky sports in it is a real super, super blessing.
John, you're a great man. I got to have you back as soon as possible.
All right.
You go get some sleep. You get some rest. Tomorrow's Labor Day. You can take a day off. You don't have nothing much to do, I don't think. You can take your break.
There's a Stoops press conference. You know, we got to see what he has to say also. Yeah. Job is never done here. No, it's all in good fun. I'm also covering the Bengals too. I just signed a new contract, and I'm going to be doing them again this year. So it'll be a blast. Never a dull moment.
No, John. Thank you so much. Bless you, man. And we will talk to you very soon.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, John. John Huang. What an interview, Nate. That's a great man. Definitely got to have him back. Here's another good man. But this time I'm actually thrilled because he's not on vacation. The last 4 times that I have caught Les Dixon and talked to him on my show, he has been in Panama City. He was in, I think, Cincinnati one time. He was in Texas one time. So he looks like he's actually in his home. Is that?
I'm actually, right now I'm in Australia. I'm kidding,
Wow.
CJ. I'm kidding. I'm actually at home. I think one time you caught me, I was on a cruise.
Listen, you've done tremendous work.
Hey.
I mean, every time that, especially one time we talked to you, you were eating supper, and I caught you right in the middle of a meal, and I think you was in Texas that day, that Sunday. And I said, I'm going to have to quit bothering you on days that you're on vacation. You're going to let me know when you're not vacationing and let me know so I can catch you at home. You know, because it's
right. I'm just glad. I appreciate you having me on.
Always.
You guys do a fantastic job. You do a great job, and I appreciate you asking me to come on.
Always. You're my knowledge to the 13th windows and things we don't get to see. A lot of people don't get to see. First of all, Les, I want to say this out loud. I told Nate, I can't believe how far you've come with the 13th Region Media Network. You started that just as 3 guys was just going to keep up a running stroll of some games, and you were going to just keep people entertained, and you done it because you do it at the 13th Region Tournament, and people, some of them could be there, and now you've turned it into I watched some of the North Laurel Balcony and North Laurel Whitfield game. Very impressive. I like what you're doing. I'm excited for where this is going, and I just tell you, you took it to higher places than I think probably what you even thought it was going to be.
Well, I appreciate that. It's been a lot of hard work. It started just being a little boredom type thing of, hey, let's do a 13th region. It just started out like a Facebook page,
Yeah.
and we would do pick'ems and this and that. That's 7, 8, 9 years. Well, 2015, so 9 years ago, and now we've got a now 13th Region Media Network. We've got our website. We've got 7 or 8 different Facebook pages, groups for each sport. Social media we're taking care of, and we've been invited. We've been a lot of different type of things. I mean, we cover the Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals. We cover Kentucky Wildcats football and basketball, and when Kentucky, I guess a couple years ago in the CBS Classic, we were able to go there at Madison Square Garden, and really they took care of us there. And we're going back in December again, I believe December 21st. And this time around, CJ, it's going to be kind of like a we'll get in the 13th region talk, but it's going to kind of be like a vacation trip, because let me tell you real quick, you don't know, but out of the blue, I had to have emergency surgery on my birthday, January 23rd. Had to get my appendix out. Well, this is what's going to lead to what I'm saying, the vacation trip. I'd never watched, you guys are going to laugh at this, but I've never watched ever. I'm 49 years old. I'd heard about it. I was like, I'm not going to watch this. I'm laying in bed, recovering from surgery, this and that. And I'm like, I'm going to turn The Sopranos on. I've never watched that. So I'll turn that on.
Yep.
And next thing I know, I've watched all 6 seasons. And now my wife's ready to divorce me because I watch it every day. And so what she has done for me, and it's unbelievable. I never thought any show would surpass my love for Breaking Bad. But, on this trip to New York, we're going to go to Salem, we're going to Boston and this and that. But after we leave New York, we're going to Newark, and she has mapped out to where I can go where all this Sopranos was filmed. I'm going to go to the Tony Soprano's house.
Wow.
I mean, it's been pretty neat. But anyway, I know you want to talk about 13th region.
No, I'm excited for you.
Has been horrible, because in May, I ran off the road on the interstate in Tennessee, and it demolished my Bronco, did damage to my kidneys. It has been a horrible. Oh, I missed a state tournament, boys and girls state tournament, for the first time in 30 years, because I finally got to go to the region tournament this year. 13th region. It was my first time out from my surgery. I do a game for WYMT, Clay County and Harlan County. I leave that day, which was a Saturday. Sunday, I wake up and I got COVID, and it was really bad. So I was out for 3 weeks, missed both state tournament. 2024 has been bad. So I'm just hoping my Bengals do well enough to where 2025 we finally win a Super Bowl. But anyway, I know you want to get in the 13th region talk. So, like I said, thanks for having me on. And it's an interesting time for the 13th region. We've been to be able to say that I know it's football season, but we had Reed Shepard come through here, number 3 draft pick, Houston Rockets, and then Trent Noah. Put on a show at the Sweet 16. We've been fortunate in the 13th region to have some very, very, very good talent. I mean, we had Mr. Football, Daniel Thomas this past last year season at Bell County. Just been very fortunate to have a lot of talent. Not many regions can boast right now what we've been able to have. Mr. Basketball, I would say Noah was runner-up for Mr. Basketball, and then we had Daniel Thomas. So it's been a good time for the 13th Region Media Network to come along as we did.
I think the only region who probably can come close to you is the 14th, because they had Tim Couch, They've had a couple of Mr. Basketballs, but you guys have had it all in a 2 year span. I mean, from when Reed was a sophomore to when Trent last year graduated, it seemed like that the media coverage was unbelievable for 13th region. People was, I could see a regular season game between Corbin and Barberville, it'd be almost a packed house because people want to see 13th region sports, like the Friday night game there you guys done between North and Whitley. I'm gonna tell you, that's a big crowd there. Whitley had a big crowd. Whitley brought a big crowd from over there. I mean, people love 13th region sports, and they want to be there, part of it. Now, I know people still complain about the regional tournament being in the arena. They want it to move back to some of the bigger schools, and the school host it. But I like the arena. I think it's a great place for it.
I'm going to tell you, of course, selfishly, I like the arena because it's only a 2-minute drive for me. I mean, but now I will say this. I was at the last 13th region tournament that was held at high school. It was at Bell County. And, split sessions are a day. I mean, you can't have split sessions anymore.
Yeah.
You've got the older folks. I mean, there is no reason to have a split session when Corbin can host a thing. Harlan County can, but when it gets to Harlan County's time to host, they're allowed to host. But, when you go back about the 13th region, just folks watching, look, last year we had Boyle County, Corbin, and I never thought we would surpass that. And somehow, Whitley County, North Laurel, they were both 1-0, and North had a lot of, I guess a lot of people were excited about what they'd done by beating Bell County the week before, but we had 13.7 thousand views watch for that game.
That's impressive.
Honest to goodness, that probably quadrupled times 3. I mean, what I expected. And I was just surprised. Of course, it does help when you have a game that goes down to the final seconds, But, 13th region, all the regions, it's awesome. I'm just going to say this, though. Someone said the other day, look, I think the mountain school, the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, and the 12th, they are covered by so many great outlets. Look, man, these mountain kids get the coverage. I'm telling you, people do it because they love to do it, and these kids are very, very fortunate. And look, these kids get better coverage, in my opinion, than the Lexington schools do.
They do. And we talk about the D&D Sports Network. We talk about you guys. We talk about the big Bluegrass Sports Nation. You talk about Hometown 24 and the coverage in the 14th. You talk about some other Mark Gregory and their new thing that they've got running. They're doing a tremendous job over there getting that off the ground. And so, people, the kids love it. They deserve to be. They deserve it. If there's a kid out there that's a great athlete, deserves it. These kids deserve it in the mountains. I don't care how they get it. I want them to get it because here we're going to support the kids. We're going to support the teams. We're going to support our mountain teams, and that's how it's all. Well, my chair's about to break on me. That would have been bad.
And you can't forget about YMT. They give great coverage. Everybody gives great coverage.
Nate, will you take over for me? I'm having chair difficulties. I'll be right back.
You got it, brother. You got it.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. What happened to CJ?
CJ.
Hey, look. CJ done this to me before. One time, CJ might be able to tell you when he comes back on. But the time before, me and CJ and Willie from and it was just me and Willie, and we were like, "Do we close the show?" Or CJ, he does a great vanishing act, but I'm glad to talk to you. I mean,
Great to hear from
we
you.
can
Les.
hey, we can hijack this show right now and make sure CJ can never get back on Facebook. Which I
that's
wouldn't
true. We
do
got
that, but
no, of course. Love CJ.
Oh,
Well, dude, I'll be praying for you, man. I'm sorry to hear about the rough start to 2024. I kind of glad you're hanging
thank
in there,
you.
though.
Yeah, hey, man, it was just out of the blue. Like, pretty rough, but I mean, thank you. Fortunately, it can. You know, I always say it can always be worse. Look, I can handle this stuff because I'm a true Atlanta Braves fan. In the '80s, when we were losing 120 games a year, I went through that, and then I'm a true Cincinnati Bengals fan, so I'm used to bad things happening.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
CJ, Mark Zuckerberg just called.
What do you say?
We kind of said some bad words on air while you were gone, and I think
So-
this is your last show.
Okay, well that's okay. Well,
I'm
we'll
kidding,
be,
my
we
friend.
about had total disaster. We about had to call the emergency room because my chair. I don't know if this chair is going to survive or not. I don't.
Hey, do you remember when it was Willie Hope? Remember, I think that's his name. You remember when Willie and I were on there and you couldn't get on?
Yeah, oh God, yeah. I got cut off. You guys had to take over. Luckily, you guys did a great job filling in while I was trying to get back. Something happened to the internet that night cut me off.
Oh, that was probably you were really, I mean, yeah, that wasn't a good night for you.
I was having frustrations, but right
Yeah.
now I'm having chair problems because I don't have a chair that can support my weight, and money's been hard to go get a chair, so I have to try to take chairs that are. I just don't want these chairs are not very sturdy, so that I don't need it breaking because if I do, I'm gonna break my tailbone, and then you'll have to call an ambulance because they'll have to come get me.
I understand all that. Let me ask you guys this before we get in the 13th region because I'm excited. I'm a big NFL fan. Who are you two guys' favorite team? And do you guys think my Bengals have a chance?
I like the Bengals. You know I do. I've been a Bengals fan since we win or we lose. I don't care. Just like the Lakers. I'm a Lakers fan. Win or lose. I don't care. But you know what? They got to get Jamar Chase signed. They got to do that this week, or that's going to linger on. It's going to hurt them. They can't let that linger on because listen, Jamar Chase had a deal. I know what the Bengals are probably waiting on. They don't need to wait too much longer because the more they wait, the more harder it's going to make it. So, coming up, you got the Patriots this week. If you can get a deal done with Jamar, that will be great. Then you can have all that behind you, and then you can focus on beating the Patriots. But it's the big game for Cincinnati. It's a big game for Joe Burrow because it's coming his first probably true action since his injury. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, I think for sure. I think the biggest thing for the Bengals is just staying healthy. They've got so many good pieces. If you look at the last couple of years, like if they are like their Super Bowl run, if they're healthy, they're capable of doing great things. I'm a Vikings fan, and we've had just the worst start to the
yeah. Listen, if JJ don't get hurt, you guys, I think he ends up being your starter.
I think eventually he would have been. I think we probably roll with Darnold the first couple of weeks, and then maybe start going to JJ midway through the season. But man, just talk about a buzzkill to start. I was so excited. I knew we weren't going to be like that good this year, but I was excited to see these young pieces start to mold a little bit.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, unless Darnold is unreal, I think it's probably looking like a 6 and 11 years, something like that. But yeah, I think in terms of the Bengals, man, they got the pieces. Just stay healthy and do their thing.
Got to stay up. That's right. See, now, CJ, I've got a different opinion on Jamar Chase. He's still got 2 years left in his contract. I could see if this was a final year of his contract, but he has 2. Now, I'm a little bit old school, but my thing is honor your contract. I mean, $20-some million this year. I mean, that's not chump change by any means. I mean, we all know he's going to be out there. If he's not, he's killing himself on this one because yes, the Bengals are known as being a tight organization, the Brown family. My thing is to ask Carson Palmer what happens when you try to call the Bengals bluff. I mean, they'll let you retire. Yes, they traded him to the Raiders, but what I'm saying is Mike Brown, he'll sit there and let Jamar lose money each time. And I mean, we've dished out a lot of money on linemen that's not worked out. We dished out money on Joe Burrow. T. Higgins is being a bigger man and playing in his, he's, I can't even remember what's it called. He's a whatever, but this is his final year there at Cincinnati, So, but unless, well, I assume it is, unless if something happens. I saw where Jamar wants to be paid higher than Justin Jefferson. Man, here's the thing, and we all know this. That's a $40 million contract, and when you put that much money in two players, that's just, you got to have. That's just hard. So anyway, I'm hoping we'll go 11-6, 12-5. We really need that one seed to get that home. We need home playoff games, but we'll see. I do think we're a thorn in Kansas City's side, but we'll see what happens. NFL is just so hard. You got to have lady luck on your side. Like Nate said, when we made that Super Bowl run, we were relatively healthy and made a good run there. And luck plays a big part. You got to have talent, but luck plays a big part too.
Yeah. Yep. I'm ask you a couple of football questions, and I'll let you go. I know you got some stuff to do. As we look at the total, as we look at all A's, as we look at the 13-3 teams nowhere, I guess the start's not as been as strong for some of them as we thought. Middlesbrough's 0-2. Pineville's 0-2. And I thought both them teams would be better, even though I know they did lose a lot. But I think Pineville's sort of being handicapped where they don't have Sawyer kid playing quarterback for them this year. I think they were depending on him to be there, and he didn't want to. He wanted to focus on basketball. But you got, I'm sorry.
I think he graduated.
No, he's senior but he would have been their quarterback, and he played football last year, played really well. But you got what's wrong with some of these teams that are not playing as well? Because Bale's not played well. I know they're probably having the Daniel Thomas thing. Hey, when you graduate a superstar, you got to come back next year. You got to find that groove that you have with them. I feel like the two teams in the 13 are playing the best football. Played each other on Friday night was Whitley and North. But I think and we haven't got to see enough of Williamsburg. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're going to be the one team I think can play with Pikeville. And we're finding out Pikeville is invincible. They can be beat. But Pikeville's lost to two 4A schools in Corbin and Johnson Central, who are probably the two teams that can play with Boyle County. So tell me as a whole, the 13s, where are some teams having problems? Why are they having those? Because I thought they'd be a little stronger in that.
Well, with Pineville, now Thompson went as a receiver last year, and they had the Deacon. I want to say Thompson. I can't remember his last name, but he was their starting quarterback, pretty good. But he transferred to Middlesbrough, I believe. So he transferred, so that left Coach Harris without any quarterback, with Sawyer's not playing either. So and I expected Pineville to be rebuilding this year. Middlesbrough, they lost a lot. They'll be fine. Williamsburg will be their main threat, which I think Williamsburg's the team to beat in that district. Lincamp's 2-0. They've surprised a little bit. Coach Hendricks has done a good job building the program. For Bell County, look, you graduate Mr. Football, and he was probably about 78-80% of the offense, so I could see, they hung tough against North, came back. I thought they were going to fall to 0-2 and came back and beat Boyd County. Corbin's Corbin. Corbin's going to go as far I mean, it's going to come down to them and Boyle County in the region final. I mean, I honestly.
Oh, I don't want that. I want to be Kroger Field.
Well, I mean, the way it's set up now, I don't think it can be. I mean, the way because last year they met in the region finals.
That was because the RPI really hurt because they didn't play 10 games.
Yeah. So, the big game for Corbin will be for them will be the Frederick Douglass game. That will be for the RPI. That'll be the big game going up to Frederick Douglass. But Corbin's going to be right there. They have, in my opinion, the best or second best quarterback in the state, and Cade Elam. He's top notch. Great defense. Coach Salmon's good job with that team. Surprise team is North Laurel. People don't realize they lost about 16 seniors last year, and a lot of starters. And you've got Steven Nelson coming in as the head coach, and he's a North Laurel graduate there. He was a star player there. And I don't care who you are, when you go on the road and you can beat Bell County in a season opener on Log Mountain, that's big. Yep. North Laurel's got weapons. I mean, man, they're strong defensively, and their line is huge, offense and defensively. And they've got Jude McQuarter. He can hurt you on both sides of the ball. They got a lot of weapons. This North Laurel's a good team. People forget a lot of these kids that's sophomores and juniors won the 8th grade state middle school level. So North's got some team. Whitley County, they probably.
I like Whitley County a lot. I really do. I love Whitley County.
Look, that game with North Laurel could have went either way. It came down to the wire, 16-14, and Whitley, I think, got one of the. First two games he's rushed for over 200 yards in each game. So trying to think, Williamsburg. Williamsburg, I don't think Jerry Herring gets the credit that he deserves. He's one of the best coaches in the state by far. You look at what he's done. He's probably, other than Corbin, in the third. Well, I know for a fact, other than Corbin, I'd say they're the winningest program in the past 12, 13 years in the 13th region. Yeah. Herring led them back-to-back state championships. Should have won one. In Class A. Had Mayfield beat, but I think right now we're only 2 games in. I want to see what North Laurel can do. They go up to Franklin County. That will be a test. Franklin County, I think, is ranked 12th in the state. That will be a test for North Laurel. And look, I've totally left this team out. Never thought about another team that's really talented and they're unbeaten is South Laurel.
Yeah.
John Hines took over head coach there, led Plaskett County to the state championship. He's got a good running back, a freshman running back. He can do it all, catch. Remember this? Well, if I can remember Zach's last name, I can't even remember. Remember Zach's name's all I got to say. He's the kid. He's a freshman, and he can flat out. I've known the kid since he's yay high. He can flat out play football. And then they got Mason Griffin at quarterback, and Noah Smith on defense and offense that can really do something. And, Knox Central's 0-2. Now, that's a team, they lost. South Laurel scored 11 points in a minute at the end of the fourth quarter to beat Knox Central. So Knox Central's another one to kind of keep an eye on there. Wayne Mills will build that program back up. But it's going to be exciting. I think the team that you're going to see go the furthest is probably Corbin.
Williamsburg, I think.
In Williamsburg. Williamsburg's got a chance. They've got Nate Gooden, great quarterback. They've got a chance. I think that Pikeville, even though they played 2 really good teams, at least they've shown a little, their armor, a little chink in their armor there, can do something. So it'll be interesting to see. And I know you're running me off here. CJ.
I wanted Jack to join us because he needs to hear things that we're talking about because I think he's not paying attention to me. So I had to bring him in so he would pay attention to me because he important stuff is being said here. So we're going to get Jack to pay attention to this. But and I agree with you 100%. And I want to say something about Williamsburg's new stadium. It is about time. You know what? That is the nicest place I've ever seen, Les. I'm so glad they got rid of that the new press box. Easy to access and get to it. I'm just so much better now. I'm so glad they got it.
It is, and I heard Pineville's press box is going to be something else when they get that fixed. Right
How
now
close are they? How close are they to get
I'm
to get
not
the play?
sure.
Even?
I'm not sure. I think sometime mid-September, maybe. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that, I guess. But look, man, all these schools are getting the artificial turf, so I figure I'm 49, so I figure when I'm 79, they'll all go back to grass fields or something. Everything goes full circle. So we'll see. But look, it should be an interesting time, and basketball, as always, is around the corner. So I appreciate you having me on, and
Anytime, Les.
hey,
I want you on as much as possible.
well, anytime. Hopefully, the next time I come on, if you're having me on sometime during basketball season, the Bengals are like 10-0 or 9-1. So, and then again in February, if you have me on, then I hopefully will have a big Super Bowl ring or something on.
There you go. I hope that too. I like that
Nate,
because I'm a big fan.
Good talking to you too, Nate. I'm glad to be able to talk to you there.
You got it, brother. Great to see you.
Les, thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate it. It's an honor, and we'll be keeping up with you. I'll be asking for some. I may need a phone number or two for a coach in the upcoming days or something, and I'll be staying in touch with you. And you get well. I'll be praying for you as you get better, and we will say go Bengals Sunday against the Patriots.
Yes, sir. We'll see you soon. And Who Day, baby.
Who Day, the Bengals. Let's Dixon with us from the 13th Region Media Network. Great to have him with us. Now joining us, he was not paying attention. He was down there. I think he was playing with his phone. So I wanted to make sure that he's ready now. Jack Demmler, first of all, I missed you last week. I know you got busy. That's okay. It happens.
Look, I did want to come on here and say I apologize for last weekend. I lost track of time. I look at my phone and I see, oh my God, it's 10:15. I'm late.
You was a lot late because I was already off at 9:59. So
yeah. So I wanted to make sure that I got it this weekend, make up for last weekend, and I wanted to wish you a happy belated birthday. I saw that it was your birthday on Friday, right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Happy
sir.
belated.
Appreciate that. Yes, I was I could not post about my birthday because something on Facebook wouldn't let me post until today. I was in the community. I wrote the community thing on Facebook when you post or something. So they put me on a 7-day no post thing. So I did post something earlier after my birthday was Friday, and I appreciate everybody giving me the kind words and things. And I'm 51. I feel it every day.
Don't look a day over 35, brother.
Oh, God, you guys are so nice. You're so nice. Yeah, but I feel it every day. So, you know what? Time will tell. If I'd have failed a moment ago, I would have felt like 81 because I'd have been going to the hospital. But luckily, I don't know how long this chair is going to stay. So I'm going to have to get me a different chair or something, or do my show from in the bedroom on the bed. Where I hope my bed won't. I'm just scared this chair is going to fall at any time. But Jack, Friday, Saturday, this was a weird week.
Yeah.
This was, I think, a lot of people scratching their head. I think a lot of people left stadiums going, what am I watching? What is this? I mean, when was the last time, you may know this, Nate thought you would know this, when was the last time Pikeville and Belfry lost in the same Pike County Bowl? I can remember it happened like 2 times ever.
They did. They both lost last season. They
Okay.
both lost to the same team, to the same opponents last season.
Johnson Central beat Pikeville last year too.
Johnson Central, or sorry, no, they didn't. Johnson Central lost 21-14 last season.
That's what I thought. I thought they won. I thought they beat them last year.
You're right. Yeah. It was a back and forth game. Pikeville came away at the end. I'd have to look up when the last time they both lost, but I do know Pikeville. The last time Pikeville went 0-2 to start was in 2022, and they have a chance to go 0-3 for the first time since '81.
Wow.
So it's a big week. 3 is a big week for Pikeville.
It's a big week for a lot of teams because there's some teams out there like that. I don't know their identity. And then we had so many games Friday night, teams falling behind 18, 20 to nothing, but they find a way to win the game in the end. Don't know how they. I can give you 2. Bell, they're down 16 nothing in the first half, struggling. They looked like they was Boyd County was going to roll them all over the mountain, but they did find a way to finally get that one stop they needed. And then Leslie County goes to Floyd Central. They're down 18 nothing right before halftime.
Yeah.
They score. Then they scored 20 points in the final 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, and then we had some other games that were crazy. Breathitt County, Prairie Central just decided, okay, we're going to do like a slot machine. We're just going to run. We're going to keep, if you score, I score. You score, I score. And you know what? Breathitt County has not beat Prairie Central since 2002. I don't know if people knew that going into that game Friday night. Listen. I went over the scoreboard a moment ago with Nate, and you know these scores. You've seen them. But some of these teams are just making me wonder, are we watching real football or are we just I don't know what to do. Your Mountaintop 10 is going to be shambles. Listen, I'll say this, is there a good team out there or is this going to be chaos all year?
No, I think Corbin, as I was listening a little bit when Les was talking as well, Corbin's going to be what Corbin is. We know, they proved it week 1 against Pikeville.
But are they probably the only team? Because everybody else is shaky at some spots.
I think Somerset's a team that has a pretty solid foundation.
Yeah, but that wasn't 13-7 against Russell. Russell County's not that good.
Yeah,
I understand. They played pretty good week 4. They did play very well at home. That's a road game at Russell County. I might not be giving the Lakers enough credit, but I thought Somerset would go up there and win 48-7, big time. But they only got a 13-7. Betsy Lane wins in the final minutes to beat Bath County. The best game on the whole schedule, I thought, was North and Whitley. Best game of the whole Friday night. You got Hazard playing out of their mind. They scored more points in 2 games than scored the whole year last year. What's the score, by the way, guys? I know you guys are watching the LSU game.
10-10.
10-10, tied. Okay, and then some other teams. Williamsburg looked pretty good Friday night. Prestonsburg 2-0. Magoffin County looked really good. They shut out Lewis County. Magoffin. Martin County did bounce back. Got a big win in the Pike County Bowl over Pike Central. Pulaski County is the team that I'm really high. Listen, look, my 5 teams right now I'm high on are Whitley, North, Pulaski, Corbin, and Williamsburg. Everybody else, I don't know what to figure out about everybody else because I don't know where everybody else is coming from.
Yeah, no, I was big on Travis Burns coming in to Pulaski. He was the defensive coordinator out of Boyle for a couple years there. Won a couple state championships. He did awesome week 1. I was out at the Pigskin Classic out in Corbin, watching them play Beechwood. I talked to Travis after that game, and he was like, "Look, nobody thought we were going to be here. Everybody thought that we were losing by 2 scores at least." And it was a tough way for them to lose.
And they should have won. And they should have won the game. They should have won the game.
They missed 2 PATs, and then they let Beechwood sort of march down the field in the final 2 minutes. kind of a tough way to lose. But I think Pulaski is. We don't have them yet, but they are very much a fringe team. I think they're right outside the top 10 and are a step away from stepping in. I think they're a team that could pose a deep threat come late October, November, make a deep postseason run. I'm really excited for Travis Burns and the Maroons this season.
Here's your top 10. I'm going to be very interested to see where you mix everybody in tomorrow. Who drops out? I know Breathitt's probably going to drop out, so you're going to have one new team in. I don't think you're going to penalize but everybody else. I don't think you're going to take Whitley out. I think you may move Whitley down a couple spots. They lost to a great North Laurel team, a good North Laurel team.
Yeah.
I do think Breathitt will be out of the top 10. Betsy Lane's effort might get them out of your top. You may have a couple of new schools, but I am wondering, and you can't tell me because you guys will see it tomorrow night on the 6 o'clock news or the 6:30 news or the whatever news you give the Mountain Top 10. But there's going to be a lot of shakeup tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be chaos. I mean, you guys got some major questions to answer towards the teams below.
Here's what I will say, and this is so I think for a lot of these schools, the alarm's going off like panic mode type deal, but we have to think this is week 2. Yeah, it's easy to overreact and sort of make that dramatic, hey, you're for Pikeville, for instance, it could be just as easy to say you're 0-2, you lost, you didn't only lose, you kind of were shown to be a little weak in both games. Neither game was particularly close. It could be easy to drop them as far as possible. But again, it's week 2. I don't want to overreact to some of these losses.
I thought
Pikeville 2-4 team.
I thought Johnson Central bounced back though big because you lose the way you did at Madison Central. You're up 14-0. You lose 26-14 because you don't do anything in the second half. But then you go to Pikeville and you just manhandle them the whole game. Yeah. I thought Johnson Central was, no question about it, the best team on the field.
Yeah,
Saturday night. I mean, I heard Tanner once say he was a little shocked that Johnson Central was physically more better on the offensive and defensive lines than Pikeville. And you don't say that much often against there. And you know what? You look at Class A football, if Hazard's going to play the way they're playing,
that could be a good matchup between Hazard and Pikeville.
They sure. Well, yeah. I think I'm really listen. We're going to find a lot about Hazard next 2 games. Paris and Letcher Central at home. If they win both of them, hey, they're for real.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Letcher Central is one of the most underrated teams in this entire. We're not even talking about them.
CJ. I do agree that statement right there.
I mean, Letcher Central, they're in my top 10. They're at number 9. They need to be. If they're not in there tomorrow night, I'm having boycott. They need to be in there. If you're going to take Breathitt out, Letcher Central needs to. I know they lost to Raceland, but Raceland's a good football team.
Right, Raceland is a state runner-up. I get that.
I mean, listen, there's some teams out there that we think are pretty good, but they got a lot of questions. Then we got a lot of teams out there with a lot of questions. I mean, there was some efforts Friday night. I don't know how you're going to pick a player of the week because you had about 4 different people score 5 touchdowns. Landry Collett scored 5 touchdowns himself in the game in the win against Floyd Central.
Yeah.
He scored 3 of them in the final 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
I think he ran 2, he threw 2. I think he ran 3 and threw 2, or he threw 2 and whatever. But he hit 5 touchdowns. But he's a candidate for player of the week. You got a couple others that pre-Central had a freshman. He went for over 100. He went for $1 something and 3 scores in the Breathitt County game. Impressive. I mean, then the other freshman that we've been hearing a lot about for South Laurel, he had a huge game Friday night against Knox Central. And I know that you guys are going to have some 5 of the best plays of the week coming up because we saw some great plays.
Yeah.
But we're not seeing great team ball. and that's what's bothering me because I'm not seeing what I think I need to see. I need to see more out of a bunch of teams.
Yeah, one of the three biggest teams, when I'm looking at the top 10, the three biggest teams that I'm so interested in, I heard you guys talk about it with Les. That 13th region is incredible. The three biggest teams that I'm focused on, Whitley, North, and Bell, I think those three have a grudge match. And I think I was surprised. I talked to Coach Reimer and Coach Nelson earlier in the week before their game. Coach Nelson was like, look, we're not going to let anybody be more physical than us. And then they proved it on Friday. They didn't let Whitley beat them up front. And, that was a huge win for Coach Nelson and the Jags.
But now they go on the road to play one of the state's top teams in Franklin County this week. Let's look at the schedule a little bit. Let's get an idea of where we're going to be Friday night. We went over Nate, and we'll go over you because I like doing this because we got a lot of questions, a lot of good games Friday night. We got Leslie County hosting McGoffin County. Paris is at Hazard. That's a great game. You're going to tell me your game of the week too while we're going over this list. I think I know which one it is, but we'll make sure that it's going to be that. We've got Perry Central hosting Lawrence County. That's going to be an interesting matchup. You got a 2-0 Lawrence County team coming in to play a 1-1 Perry Central team, who I think Perry Central's really good. I think they're a lot better than what they played against Somerset. They showed a lot of skill and a lot of talent Friday night. Mark Dixon's got a team. I think by the end of the year, I wouldn't want to be don't want no part of them because they're not Letcher Central. I can't wait to see the Perry Central Letcher Central game in about 4 weeks.
Yeah.
The game of Prairie Central. That's going to be the game of the year. I think it's going to be one of the best games of the year. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the game. Okay, your top 10 teams, which you got Corbin at home against Lexington Catholic. Catholic's 0-2. I know that, but you better strap them up, ready to play. Catholic's going to come to town, ready to play. Somerset's at Knox Central. Pikeville's at Lexington Christian. That's a Saturday game. That's part of that bowl game down there. There's a 6 o'clock game. I forgot who it was. I think it's 2 Lexington schools. Belfry and Johnson Central. That's the game that everybody's looking forward to this coming week. I'm going to say it's your game of the week. You can tell me no or yes, and you will tell me what the game of the week is if you know it. Harlan County's at Whitley County. Bell County's at Letcher Central. North Laurel's at Franklin County. Breathitt County's at Lewis County. Betsy Lane is at Fairview. Teams that are not in the top 10, you got Wayne County hosting Casey County. Clay County at Williamsburg. That's going to be a big, nice game. Really interested in that one. Estill County at West Carter. Frankfurt's at Rockcastle County. Gate City, Virginia at Middlesboro. Here's a doozy. George Rogers Clark at Pulaski County. Now that's you talk about slobber knocking football. That's going to be some slobber knocking going on.
That's a slobber knocking game right there.
That's a slobber knocking game. You got Phelps at Jackson County, Pike Central at Harlan, Pineville at Bishop Broster, Riverview is at East Ridge, Shelby Valley and Martin County. This probably would have been a big game in the past, but Shelby Valley's 0-2, and you don't know how they can score. Martin County played better this week. We saw that in the Pike County Bowl. Southwestern against South Warren. That's long trip for the Warriors. But I think they're up for the challenge. Jenkins and Blaine, Virginia. I think that game's been canceled. I have to find out again. I think somebody told me that was canceled. South Laurel's at Russell County and Morgan County and Berea. That game has been canceled. So I think it's canceled on Morgan County's side, I believe. But as we look at the schedule, first of all, was that right? Is the game of the week Belfry Johnson Central?
To the best of my knowledge, yeah, that's game of the week.
I thought the only other game that you guys probably could give it game of the week would be Bell County Letcher Central,
which is also going to be a really good game. That game is going to tell us a lot more about Letcher Central than I think the first 2 weeks did.
Yeah.
I think week 1 told us more about Shelby Valley than it did about Letcher Central. I think week 2 told us quite a bit about Letcher Central, that they could play with anybody. This is the week that's actually going to tell us everything we need to know about Letcher and Bell.
And what's funny is that Bell plays Letcher Central this week, and they play Prairie Central next week.
Yeah.
So we're going to find out how good really Bell is, because Bell's going to face 2 good ball clubs in Prairie Central and Letcher Central who can sling it around and can run it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good games on the schedule. There's some Paintsville. I think they're going to be better than what they can score. They can score points. But now, they run into a buzzsaw Friday night. They lost on the road. Let me see who they got beat by. They got beat by Paris. Hey, they scored 30 points against Paris.
Yeah.
And that was at home. But Paris scored 63.
Yeah.
That's why I'm thinking this Hazard Paris game is going to be one of those that on paper, you'll think, well, Paris might be a little more of a favorite, but I ain't counting the Dogs out. Dogs scored more points in 2 games, scored the whole season last year.
Yeah,
So,
Hazard's legit. Hazard's a good team.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so unique that some of these teams that we thought, can they ever get back to the mountain? And we knew they eventually would. It just takes a little time. Some of them are peaking, and you got some that are not peaking. But just like I told Nate a minute ago, Pikeville might be 0-2. Pikeville's probably going to be 0-3 after Friday night. It's going to be hard to go to Lexington Christian to win that game. But we also saw this same scenario about 4 years ago. Belfry 0-5. Skies are falling. People think, oh, God, it's all over. Belfry's finished. They're going to know what they do. Did they win a state championship? Yeah, they did. So I ain't concerned what Pikeville's doing now. But I am concerned, though, they're not going to be able to – I don't think they're going to be the high-scoring offense they usually are for this season. They're going to have to depend on their defense a lot more.
Yeah, and, that's sort of why I want to, I mentioned I don't want to overreact when looking at this top 10. Because,
It's going to be different tomorrow night. A whole lot different. It's going to be totally different.
Yeah. I just don't want – I don't want to overreact and just change it 100% just because of a rough 2 weeks when teams are still sort of trying to find that identity of who they are. I thought Pikeville had their identity, but, after these first 2 weeks, maybe they need to change it up just a little bit and figure out who they really are, now that other teams have sort of figured them out.
Well, you play the 2 best 4A schools that can play with Boyle County. So, I mean, that's not, I mean, but they've not scored. But, you got 7 points against Corbin. You only got 13 against Johnson Central. Yeah. This is not, Pikeville's going to have, if you're going to play with a Hazard or a Paintsville, listen, both them teams are better this year. They're just so much better. And Pikeville's going to have to realize that Paintsville game at Paintsville, that could be interesting in week 7 because, it's just Pikeville's going to have it. They may win Class A again, but they're going to have to earn it, and they're not going to have the prettiest record probably. The record's not going to be the prettiest, but they're going to have to earn it. They're going to have to play. They're not going to listen. They got some tough games. This is tough. They play a tough schedule. But that's what Coach McNamee wants. He wants to play those. All these coaches want to play those. They want to be there. Okay, a couple more questions. I'm going to let you go. Who got? I feel sorry for the one that got the assignment last night to go do the UK game. Who was that?
We gave that to Miss Audrey. She wanted the season opener. It was. Look, this week was rough for the sports department. We had to deal with sickness early in the football season, which threw forks in the road. But she came back healthy, and she's like, I want the Kentucky game. So, and I was texting her. She's got family that lives around that area. So
what time did she get out of Commonwealth?
I don't know what time she left Kroger, but I'm sure. Well, I think Stoops, they called the game around probably midnight a little bit. I think they ended up canceling around midnight, 12:30. Stoops probably did his press conference right after. She probably left about 1:30, 2 o'clock. But she had family in the area.
Poor Audrey.
She didn't have to drive back to Hazard. She fortunately had a place to stay in Lexington. So
yeah, but poor Audrey.
Absolutely.
Bless her heart.
Yeah.
Bless her heart. I'm just who gets to see the person that gets to go this week gets a day game.
Yeah, Armando's getting this one.
Armando gets a day game.
But you know what? Audrey wants Georgia, and she's getting Georgia, so she'll be able to make it up. Another late game against Georgia. Yeah, that should be PI, Nate. I just saw that too.
How about you? What's your game?
I'm going to the game against Ohio. My alma mater. I will say my alma mater. my cousin is actually on the Ohio football team.
Oh, that's cool.
He's number 3rd in the depth chart at running back.
There you go.
So,
well, he'll probably get in. I'm gonna be positive.
I hope so. I hope I at least get to see him a little bit. But I talked to a couple buddies that work with the team, and I'm like, please say Coach puts him in, and they're like, yeah, Nolan's probably not going to get any play time against Kentucky. I'm like, all right, cool.
But you never know the score. You never know what the score will be. So yeah. Jack, you're a man of so many. You want to ask Jack anything? I know you dying to.
Oh
to
man,
ask
the thing is, CJ, I could talk to Jack all night.
We would be on. We'd be on.
This show would go until 2:00 in the morning, and by then we wouldn't even know what we were talking about. But we were just talking about something.
Nate, you got to go to the Nebraska football home opener and then a volleyball game.
That's right.
Yesterday, right? How
Yeah.
long was yesterday for you?
That was a 10 a.m. till about 11:30 p.m. day. But I'll tell you what, it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Did Nebraska win in volleyball? I know they won football, but I didn't know if they won the volleyball.
Yeah, they won in 4. TCU gave them a game in set 3. They won in 4 in 4 sets. So
they're ranked top 10, I think.
2.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I know they're ranked high.
They're unreal. Watching them is just. It's hard to shoot highlights because I just want to watch them play. It's just, they're so talented. It's crazy. I mean, it really is crazy. Like, oh my gosh. But yeah, it's been a blast. Football. I can't wait for Colorado to come to town next week, bro. Oh man, Colorado here is crazy. Yeah,
Dion, you'll probably won't touch him and talk to him, ain't you?
I might touch him. Yeah.
You're funny. You make me crack up. Jack, it's been an honor. Like I told Armando, I wanted to try to each week make a Audrey do it one week, you do it one week, and Armando do it one week. We're trying to get Audrey next week, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna rotate. We'll figure it out.
Yep. So I send the invitation to Armando. He sends it to either you or Audrey that I know who's going to be with me. So, but then if there's extra months in the extra month, I think Armando's going to take 2 when you guys will take 1. But that's, at least everybody gets to be on one time a month, and we get to hear different thoughts because you and Armando and Audrey all have the same thought in the newsroom, but you do, you probably have different thoughts with certain teams, and that's good to know because it's, we want to know what those thoughts are for some, it's important that we know who's there. But this big week for some teams. Some teams need some W's, and some teams need some help.
Yeah. I will say, even though they lost to North Laurel in a close game, I'm still kind of big on Whitley this year.
Oh, I am too.
Reimer's awesome, and Shane Parker. For being only a junior this year, Shane Parker's awesome. Good back.
Coach Reimer is what Whitley County needed. They needed somebody with a veteran. You know what? Jason Chappell's on that staff now, the former North Laurel head football coach, helping out and bringing a lot of knowledge to them. And, I think that was a big pickup for them. And, I hate to see Jason leave North Laurel, but I understand he done it for, to be more with his family. And he also wanted, he's helping out there some. And too. Also, I don't know if you guys know, assistant coach for Leslie County, Mike Whitaker, lost his mom Saturday morning. I do want to give my prayers to the Leslie County football team, and Coach Whitaker. She was a great woman. Betty was just a great soul. Mike Whitaker is such a great man. He's been helping the Leslie County team. He's come back helping them past 2 or 3 years, and it's great seeing him back over there. But please keep your thoughts and prayers in with Coach Whitaker. It's been a rough week for them as they go through some tough times. But just want to throw it out there because he's a good man, and she was a good woman. And, I'm just going to miss her. And I won't give my prayers to her. So I know I hope the mountains will do that too. Jack, it's been tremendously to have you with us. We will speak to you very soon. You be safe, my friend. God bless you, and we'll talk very soon.
Thank you, CJ. I appreciate you having me on. Nate, always a pleasure seeing you. I'm sure I'll be talking to you soon, brother. You guys have a great
Absolutely,
night.
brother.
I loved my time being here. You guys have a great rest of your night.
Thank you, Jack. Appreciate it. Jack Demmler from WYMT. I did get a note from Wes Johnson. He apologized. He had something going on. Let me see if I can get it here. I ain't going to read it on the line. I'm just going to tell me. He said he was sorry. He forgot about it. That happens. Listen, things happen.
Right.
But he apologizes. Coach, if you're listening, I will text you and we will try to. I will put you on next week. So I'll just go ahead and say you're going. If you can, I'll go ahead and you can be on next week's show because I want to talk about your Bulldogs and that'll be a lot of fun. First of all, let's go over a few house notes and we'll get out of here. I want to thank everybody. We had a call tonight. Tickled to death about that. Thank you, Christopher, for calling. Guys, if you want to call the show, you can call it at 650-265-11. I'm sorry. That was the phone number from the guest we had. The phone number is 502-849-9320. But call anytime you want to. I'll answer your question like I tried to. I appreciate your comments, guys. Hopefully, we're going to do better on that in the coming days. I want to thank all our guests. Coach Johnson, thank you for texting me. If you can, I hope you can be on next week's show. But I appreciate you doing that. John Huang, what a man. Great time when he had a great time. Listen, we had a great time tonight because all of our guests, tremendous people. And John Huang, Les Dixon, and Jack Demmler. A great time out here and honored to have him here at any time. We'll be back with you next Sunday night, September 8th, episode number 4 of the CJ Howard Show. Alan Rice is going to be with me from the Eagles Nest. We're going to be talking about the Tim Couch thing. I do know some details. I am not going to relay those details till next week because there is a few things that still need to be sorted out. But hopefully Coach Mr. Rice will have those answers for me. He is over the Eagles Nest that you see on Facebook. So he'll be my co-host. Dave Baker and Jeff Drummond both are going to be with me next week. And then, of course, if I can get Coach Johnson, I will have him on there as well. Guys, I want you to go to my Facebook. I want you to find the CJ Howard Show page. I want you to like, and I want you to share. Share it, please. I also want you to go to my YouTube channel. I got a subscription the other day from one of my fans. Thank you, guys. Go over and give me a subscribe. I would appreciate that. Anything I get, I'm appreciative of it. Guys, if you would like to donate to the CJ Howard Show, there is my Cash App is going across the screen right now. I would appreciate any donations because I need equipment costs money, stuff costs money. Also, I have a GoFundMe page. I'm trying to get me a vehicle. If you guys could help me out there, I would appreciate that as well. But you can go to my Facebook page. You can find that GoFundMe there if you want to help me out. I would appreciate any donations as well. Now, Mr. Knight, you give me your final thoughts, and then we'll get out of here.
All right, good deal. Well, CJ, appreciate you having me on.
Always.
Big win for the Wildcats, big win for the Huskers. A lot of football left to be played in college and high school. It just feels good. It just feels right when football is on. You know what I mean? It's just like when football's going, everything falls into place. So excited for the rest of the season and always have a love for the mountains and the people of Eastern Kentucky. So I appreciate it.
We miss you a lot. We do miss you. We miss you.
I appreciate it. So
I know I've heard a lot of people say that we miss all of our former people that used to be here with us. And time to time, I try to, if I can get a hold of them and they're not busy, they try to be with us. And I know you'll be back with me again later in the year, and we'll do another one of these, and hopefully we'll get a lot of questions. Do not leave me after we get off the live. I want to talk to you when we're not live. I got something I need to ask you.
Okay.
Again, I want to remind everybody, please join me again next Sunday night, 8 o'clock. We'll be right here for the CJ Howard Show as well. Again, I want you to please pray for Coach Mike Whitaker and his family. He lost his mom again on Saturday. please be praying for them, and I'd appreciate that as well. This is CJ Howard, running third and heading for home. And as the Casey Kasem says, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for those stars. I love you all. God bless you, and I'll see you next week. This is CJ Howard saying so long, everybody.